If you're just joining us, thank you for hanging out. If you've been hanging out all day, thanks for hanging out. This is our Hoaglandia Open, sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com. We started with 70 players. We are down to just 2. We're going to watch some Gruul Aggro versus Mono Red Aggro in our finals here. This is a double elimination tournament structure, but both of these places have lost. Both these players have lost a match already, so they will be the final match that we'll be watching here today is on your screens in front of you. So let's head on in.
Let's do it.
Mono Red winning the die roll feels key here.
Feels good. Feels good. Yeah. Who do you like here? I think these decks are quite different. But you know, I don't know. They're close, but some very big differences from the Gruul size. A lot bigger creatures mostly.
Yeah, so Lovestruck Beast is probably one of the key cards on the Gruul side of the board. On the Mono Red side of the board, though, we can see here kind of a key difference between the two. Our Mono Red player has shocks and stuff like that in their main deck, whereas our Gruul Adventures player, outside of Bone Crusher Giant, really doesn't have a ton of interaction, right? So,
yep.
And the interaction that they have isn't nearly as efficient or requires a body like Primal Might.
Yep, I think the big distinctions that I'm looking at here is, like you said, Lovestruck Beast is going to be very important, and Annex, I think, is going to be quite important from the Mono Red side. So I think it comes down to those 3 drops, like who has them on the play is going to, or just who has them in general is going to be very key. And then just red cap melees from the side are going to be insane. Was this the player that had 4 of them? Or no, only 2, but still, like, that's going to be a big game changer as well.
Speaking of a little bit of interaction here, we see that Bone Crusher Giant coming up in hand for Todd Turkey here. So now they have to decide, do they want to bolt in the Symbiosis so they can stomp the 3-1, or do they want to just play a tapped land so they can make a token with Lovestruck Beast here?
Yeah, I think I just like... God, that's close. Because, I mean, if you take 3, you're taking 3 from the attacker already, and it actually could be 4. So you might be saving yourself a damage by taking 3 here. And if you put the 1/1 into play, they can make it just not able to block, or, you know, what we know, just shock it. So I think in hindsight, it's better to shock in it and stomp here, but then you're unable to cast Lovestruck Beast next turn unless you top deck a land.
Yep. Yeah, the upside to being able to bolt and play Lovestruck Beast definitely feels high in this matchup. The 5/5 body from that, very, very good, unless they have exactly Embercleave.
But here's the thing, like, you don't really want to play Lovestruck Beast in the face of this Intimidator, because, well, you're just not going to block. That is the one card that changes the dynamic from Lovestruck Beast just being, you know, the catch-all be-all.
I really, really love the continued tight play from Todd here, choosing to make them use their mana to activate this and give it trample until end of turn. Obviously, Todd doesn't know that the opponent doesn't have other things worth playing out, but he kind of stunts their development for the turn by doing that.
Exactly. Lovestruck, that's just saying, you know what, I'm not going to be attacking with Lovestruck Beast. That one's staying home. That one's staying home and playing defense here, because as the Gruul player, you inherently have to take the role, at least game 1, of the more controlling player, just because they're going to be faster. They're going to be faster out of the gate. You need to defend.
So we can make this Lovestruck Beast a coward, but cowards only can't block warriors, so this coward still can block Fervent Champion and Hellhound here. That being said, there is double shock up top, so we could see them attack with the champion and double shock before first strike, but that's a lot of resources to take a 5/5 off.
Yeah, how much better is shock getting here? I think I just like just attacking for 4, but yeah, it's close, because you do want to get Lovestruck Beast out of the way. Decides not to.
The problem here is this Bone Crusher Giant now gets to, like, stomp the 3/1, and then the Mono Red deck basically has no pressure left in the face of the 5/5.
Yeah, and now what our Mono Red fans are hoping for here is just like a Torben off the top and just start turning these shocks into chars. That seems so nice.
Yep. So, Lovestruck Beast, not in love with anyone, but is in love with being a brick wall. The third shock's the charm, Corey. The third shock's the charm.
That's really where you get it. That's stuff. Now let's get this Love Struck Beast out of here. Triple shock. Let's go.
See, I kind of like sitting there. I think you're right. I think they're just on the
Yeah.
like find Torbrand and Char plan. We could
Yeah.
also theoretically find there's potential that we could find a an Embercleave as well here with these two bodies and like maybe get to
Hmm.
cut through that way. But I
Yeah, that's
definitely
not bad because you do get to pump the landfall creature up to 3, and then one shot could deal with a 5/5. That is a better exchange. But yeah, I think we're in the Torben waiting room upstairs.
so um
Ooh.
that kicks for 5.
Wow,
What
it's
is it?
5 and it deals 5, or
What is that? What is that card called?
yeah, I have no idea. Let me check here.
It's a deal 3 for 2 at a sorcery speed, and it kicks for 5 to deal
Royal
deal
Eruption.
Roiling Eruption.
Oh, you got to kick it for 7 though.
Yeah, it
costs
kicks
7
it kicks
total
for
mana.
5 extra. So
But
like
then yeah, it's a lava axe.
we technically have lethal rolled up in hand on the mono red side here with that draw if we
Yeah.
run 2 lands off. The question is now, can Todd close the game out before that's relevant? Which might be possible with the Cleave and the Rimrock Knight in hand.
It's so weird to see these mono red decks have this kind of reach in the form of burn spells, because we've just seen burn spells be quite bad lately because of Uro, where you have to just be playing to the battlefield and try to win that way with a good amount of creatures, annex, stuff like that. So it's nice to see these mono red decks kind of have that reach again, and who knows if it'll stay that way. But now that I say that, I look at their deck list and they only have 2 Royal Eruptions and 4 Shocks, and that's it. So
Another
and Bone Crusher.
see some shocks at end of turn there, potentially positioning themselves to draw another piece of burn next turn to close the game out. Unfortunately, finding a robber of the rich, not exactly what they're looking for.
Wait, didn't they just miss lethal? Can't you just throw that? Just cast it without the kicker? Just deal 3? Oh wait, that's only 5. Never mind.
It's only
Yeah.
9. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. They were one short there. There's plenty
So
of blockers. Is this
Yeah, we're
Embercleave?
still-
Embercleave's not quite lethal next turn, right?
I don't think so, because that's 10 on the questing beast. Can attack with Lovestruck Beast. If you get like Fabled Passage, slapping it on the woolly mammoth here would probably be pretty good.
And if you're on the mono red side, like you have to like it feels like you kind of want to kill the 3/3, but you don't win that game, right? Like killing the 3/3 is playing to not lose.
Yeah, exactly. You want to play to win here, and I think you kind of have to kiss the kicker goodbye on this. Like, there's just not going to be time drawing 2 lands. You're going to be dead. So at this point, you're giving yourself just extra outs of like the 4th shock, another Royal Eruption, Bone Crusher Giant, and just play to draw to those. If you just waste 3 damage on a creature and then top deck one of those things, you feel real bad.
Yep. And again here, even with the Ember Cleave this turn, the Cleave's not going to be lethal. Is it lethal with the Stomp?
I don't think so.
Stomp deals 2. Let's see. There's a few different permutations on how blocks could line up here.
10, 16. I mean, it is presenting 16 damage on the battlefield, but even just that block, yeah, that's a first striker too. I guess you Ember Cleave that. Maybe we're dead then. Ember Cleave that. Take 3, 7, 11, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, if this is the block, it's game. Exactly, with Cleave plus Stomp.
Well, there's a shock there too, right? So like if we make this block and you cleave the 3/1, you can play around the Stomp by shocking. But again, I don't know that you play around the Stomp because you're only out on the mono red side as burn spells. So
exactly. Yeah, I mean, had like not even Torbran gets you there. I guess we do just have 3 attackers then, so maybe you can actually just think about attacking back to sneak in 1 point of damage or 2. Either way you look at it, not looking great for the mono red fans, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right, so I think this is going to force the hand.
I see that long pause. Let me try and figure out, like, okay, what are we playing around? And I think Todd's played really well. I think they're coming to the same conclusion we did, in that, like, okay, I should equip this here because even if they have a shock killing my 3/1 is better than a shock killing me.
Yep. Once again, just great play here by Todd, really recognizing that you do have lethal here, and just see what can be done. Oh, going to lose this turn, it looks like. And honestly, I think if I were the mono red player, I'd do the same. Like
Yep.
being at 2 versus being dead, or I mean, being at like 5 versus 2 doesn't matter unless we have stomp. So, yikes.
Yep. Yeah, and I agree. I think trying to turn your reach that you're trying to win the game with into removal is not ideal, and it's not really where you want to be in life.
Yep. Yep, that's it's not a punt or anything. That is just a situational judgment call that I totally would have made as well, and I would have lost that turn as well.
So we see our green red player here doing what we typically expect, which is pulling out some of their cheaper lower to the ground threats that die and bringing in some more removal, pulling up a little bit. I wonder if Clothis comes into this matchup because it gains life.
I was just gonna ask you the same. I was like, if there's any spell that looks like really loose, in the deck, like if there was a Niley's intervention or something in there, I'd get it out for a Clothis. But it's not great if you play that on turn 3 after your opponent plays Annex on the play, right?
Yeah, it's definitely Clothis isn't a card that you can play in the first few turns. It's a card you can play like after you stabilize the board a little bit to buffer your life total back up. But because it doesn't have a board impact, it definitely comes with some risk associated to bringing it in.
Agreed. And we're seeing both players take to now the control role like we've been seeing all day in these aggro mirrors, and just makes sense. They slow down. And you know what doesn't make sense to me, though? There's only 2 Torbrins in that deck.
Yeah, I guess
That seems like the card, right?
they're trying to be a little bit lower to the ground, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's an
Reasonable, but that card seemed insane to me.
interesting hand here for Todd. I think, yeah, it's got a.
Oh, we keep that for sure. That hand looks great. Red Cat melee into Stomp into Bone Crusher against Mono Red. You cannot ask for much more, even if the rest of your hand is not great.
That's true.
And just more removal.
The fact that,
this is great.
The fact that Bone Crusher fills out 2 and 3 on your curve is always so powerful. You're just like, yep, two spells for the price of 1.
Exactly. Top decking that on turn 2 when you like only have a 4 drop, you're just like, oh yes.
I like this pretty disciplined wait from Todd here again, just like waiting to see if we can get something better than the 1 moment with the Red Cat melee, and they're rewarded for doing so.
Agreed. Yeah, we don't see the like light up the stage. There's no reason you need to kill it. There's no more spectacle. So I like that no kill as well.
We see
shocking. Tom's playing good.
We see Thundering Rebuke being held for removal later because almost assuredly we want to Bone Crusher into Bone Crusher again, I would assume. I expect we'll again take a hit just trying to wait for a higher value target here.
Yeah, this one's closer. I mean, you're at such a healthy life total, and if you can just maintain this, you should be fine. So I think I like not killing it, but now we're probably going to kill it in response to this. That one was closer to kill it or not then, because like, you're going to want to cast something eventually, and what are you casting post combat that you'd want to kill? I guess another 3/1, another Intimidator there would be the answer, but
yeah, I like their sequencing too because you're choosing to stomp there because unless you draw something better like Love Struck Beast in this case, they probably wanted to be playing Bone Crusher Giant the following turn, so like for curve consideration that makes sense. We see hitting a Fabled past the 0 off the top with the Robber of the Rich, not what you're looking for as the mono red player.
Nope, not really. But Todd Turkey's pretty happy about that. He just doesn't have to draw it.
Yeah, I think Todd's at 12, which means they're pretty safe from getting burned out, even at a virtual 10 with the shock in hand for a mono red player. And I think we're going to slide into garbage time pretty quickly here with the large creatures on the girl side.
Yep. I mean, I think all that's left at this point with this game looking so good here for Tom is he going to take an emote of his own face or an emote of a turkey here?
Easy block here with the Love Struck Beast. Oh, and a Cleave coming out. Okay. We have a game as they say. So those trade off. Cleave is definitely the type of card we needed to see there. And Scavenging Ooze is a great one to see as well. I bet we're going to see this eat right away so it doesn't die to Shock or Lightning Strike.
Yeah. or just Questing Beast tap land. I think that is defensible as well, but values the life gain a little bit more and heads up play with what is in hand as well. I think a lot of players are inclined to Questing Beast there, and I think this is a better play in hindsight.
Yep. So
To be fair, you can just play Ooze later, eat something, wait for a shock, and then just eat again. But
yeah, love this here. So we see 8 damage come across. We got one more draw step on the mono red side of the board, but I think we're gonna be done here real quick.
yeah, impressive stuff. And I mean, we've been saying it all day. I don't know if I noticed a single misplay from Tom. I think Tom Maxwell just played phenomenal Magic, a very deserving champion of this Glen Open.
I agree. And, like the types of cards they're playing in their deck allow you to have lots of opportunities to make good decisions, right? Like between the adventure cards being modal and we have all of these dual land spell split cards, you have lots of choices with all of your cards, even in an aggressive deck like what they're playing.
Yep, totally agree. Shows the dynamics of, being able to win a long game with innkeepers, being able to kind of just keep drawing. It's not like you're drawing 10 cards like you do in the other adventure builds, but you draw enough where you curve out and maybe can hit those Questing Beasts on time, maybe hit that Embercleave on time, maybe even when you flood out cast some of these big mythics, because those type of lands scale really well in your deck. So a really well-constructed deck and play. So congrats to Tom.
As always, I'd like to thank everybody for watching today. We wouldn't be here without all of your viewers at home. I'd like to give a shout out to all 70 of our competitors that played in our open tournament. Our next tournament is going to be 2 weekends from now, and it will be historic. If you're interested in playing, be sure to follow me on Twitter or Twitch or be in the subs Discord if you're already subscribed for notifications on all of that in there. I'd like to say thank you to my co-commentator, Corey Baumeister. It was a joy to have you here all day today. Shout out to Corgi helping us pull feature matches. Shout out to my buddy Mike Klutz Andrew for running time-shifted feature matches. And shout out to my lovely wife and tournament organizer, Christy, of course, for wrangling all 70 Magic players while also wrangling our 3 children here at home while I'm commentating all day.
Which ones are tougher to deal with? Which ones are tougher?
It's a toss-up. Actually, the better question would probably be which set is better at following directions.
Oh yeah, toddlers or people trying to work Discord that don't know how. That's close. I agree.
Not at all. All right, that's gonna wrap up for me for today, folks. I'm gonna run one more ad before we